Larry Nichols is our guest for the bottom of the hour. Anthony Gusciardi takes over in the fourth hour. There is evidence of vote flipping going on all over the country. We have election officials talking about it in Texas. Politico comes out and says Trump is completely insane. There's no evidence. There's no election fraud. But the Russians are overthrowing it. Total fraud. We've got to federalize. There's no fraud, but there's total fraud. And Obamacare's free, even though it's doubled your prices, and now another 25% premium increase for the lowest level people, in the lowest bracket that has to buy it. So we're all, and I've got all these clips of the architect of it, Jonathan Gruber, and one of the main people making money off of it, and the architect of it, Ezekiel Emanuel, bragging, of course, it's meant to bankrupt things. I mean, these people are jokers. I don't get why criminals, and they're criminals in my view, giggle about how you're gang raping the country. I mean, they have a sense, though, when they take, they win. Not, I take from somebody, it lowers my culture and my society. I mean, if somebody's coming on at me, I'll knock you down. I'll put you in the dirt, but a little satisfaction when you're there. But I wasn't looking for the trouble. My instinct to knock you down is when you come at me, not because you're just sitting there like, here's a 5-year-old kid. I'm an adult. Let me hit him in the back of the head with a baseball bat because I can. I mean, that's the criminal energy attitude. But here's a few minutes from yesterday. This is now backfired on him. WorldNet Daily's reporting on it and others. Danny Williams has over 30 million views on our platforms and his platforms of his press conference, which was a bunch of Newsweek people interrupting him the whole time. It's not even that good. But the point is, they're scared of this because they're the mainstream media. They wish they had 30 million views in their whole career. YouTube backs off on ban of Clinton's black son. Here's what happened yesterday live. With less than 12 days left before the most historic election in U.S. history, we're seeing massive censorship being intensified. Now, Danny Williams is reportedly Bill Clinton's illegitimate son from a black prostitute in Little Rock, Arkansas. And Bill Clinton has basically been caught giving him money and presents over the years. But I interviewed his aunt 20 years ago and have thought this story was extremely credible. The man's very handsome. He looks a lot like Bill Clinton. And regardless of what you say about Bill Clinton, when he was young, he was a handsome guy. But now that YouTube has shut down a video that had incredible millions and millions of views, and we now learn is shutting down other videos of Danny Williams across the web, it only adds credibility. Now, I just hung up with him minutes ago. We taped it live. Here it is. This is what Hillary Clinton is scared of and does not want you to see. And that's the key. This adds a lot of credibility. They do not want you to see this. Ladies and gentlemen, 20 years ago, I interviewed Danny Williams' aunt. Bill Clinton, for years, sent $700 a month to their home, sent Christmas presents. Danny Williams is the spitting image of Bill Clinton. We had him on a few weeks ago, and it was big international news. Then, last week, hours before the debate, there was to be a big press conference. Hundreds of cameras were there. CNN came and threatened the hotel and said this press conference isn't happening. They told Danny it was canceled. Then we later learned that was a fraud, and about 15 members of the press covered it. There were more than 20 million views on Facebook and YouTube of the live conference that our reporters covered. Now, Danny Williams, we've learned today, had his YouTube channel with over 2 million views on his press conference, just on that channel. The #1 video on YouTube deleted. And in fact, in a moment, if Joe Biggs will come in for TV viewers, we can show folks a shot of this where they've told him his account is suspended, and that's the end of it, for community violations. This is just where they have a bunch of Democratic tattletales say we don't like something and it's banned. So whether you believe a story's true or not, I know it's true. The evidence is overwhelming. What's incredible is they're attempting to cover all of this up. So when the time comes, we'll do a document cam shot for TV viewers and get a shot of this in a moment. But Danny Williams, who I just got on the phone, he's driving to go pick up his kids. As he drives through Arkansas in the middle of nowhere, Danny Williams is here. He's going to tell you what's happened to his YouTube channel with massive censorship. Danny, thank you for joining us. Go ahead and tell folks what's happening.
Yes. Basically today, we found out earlier last night that they kicked out the YouTube channel, saying that, it was a violation of the community or whatnot for the social media. But technically, I got over so many viewers and a lot of good response. I don't feel like I did anything to violate anyone, but yeah, they kicked it out, and we're trying to, figure that out right now. So.
Well, they've done this to me whenever I expose, say, reports of Bill Clinton rape or whatever. They'll say community guidelines strike, where people complain. They say, yeah, we think this is mean, so they take it down. I've had videos about World War III they take down. But, I mean, here you are, very polite in the press conference video they took down. There's a copy of it on Infowars.com as well. We just had another video taken down last week with us. They're trying to shut down our channel right now. So there's a real push 12 days out from this election. Talk about what was on the video that they've banned.
I mean, it was nothing negative. I mean, no profanity. All I did was speak about the story of me, Danny Williams, and my claim and one of my DNA tests. That's what all of they claim.
All right, we're going to fade that down. So I want to go to Larry Nichols, but that full interview that they've tried to censor, his press conference is up on Infowars.com. But the fact that this press conference he did got over 30 million views on 4 different platforms total. Our platforms were like 2 million and 3 million, 5 million, but his platforms were over 25 million. That's really got to scare the power structure. And Larry Nichols, the consummate Clinton insider, one of the main sources for the Inquirer reports that are so dead on that are coming out, joins us right now from Arkansas to break down the latest developments and where he sees all this going. Larry, thank you for joining us.
You bet, Alex. How are you?
My head's spinning 11 days out. I mean, how do you see this whole thing?
Well, I can tell you where I see it. I believe Donald Trump's winning. I believe, Alex, it's time now for us to tell people exactly what to do to fight voter fraud. And what they're going to do, Alex, is we've talked about them bringing in, I'm trying to get in the center of the shot, I'm sorry. What they're trying to do is they'll be bringing in vans, which, I told you about over a year ago. Well, now you've got the tape where they're actually saying they're doing it. Well, there's another thing that we've all got to do. Number one, when you go cast your vote, here's what you better do. If it's a touch screen computer, make sure that that precinct shows you a printed proof of how your vote was recorded. Now, I've already gotten several responses, Alex, where one lady in Georgia voted for straight line Republican. When she saw proof of what she voted for, she had voted for Clinton. And it took her 4 or 5 times to get them to rerun it before it ever showed voting for Trump. So what you've got to do is you've got to make people at the precinct prove your vote was recorded properly. Now, if they can't show you proof, then demand a paper ballot. Demand it. They're supposed to have paper ballots. But if they don't, find out where you've got to go to get a paper ballot. Because, Alex, when you're on these computers, I heard you earlier say that Soros owns the voting equipment that's used in 16 states. He does. But what people don't realize is he owns the majority of several other voting machine companies, but he owns them.
No, I knew that. I mean that's come out in the last 10 years. And so, bottom line, Hillary's got to be really upset, though, that Trump isn't just going quietly into the night. He's openly exposing all that. How does that upset her apple cart?
Alex, she's going to lose, and she knows it, unless she can amass and pull off the biggest amount of voter fraud in the history of this country. Now,
I agree. Aren't preliminaries, as we're getting from early voting, showing landslide for Trump?
Well, yeah, and I don't know that it'll be a landslide, but I can tell you this. Hillary's defeated, and she knows it, so they've got to cheat. Now, to back that up, so you don't think I'm just making this up, the DNC filed a lawsuit to try to force the removal of poll watchers at the polls. Now, why would they do that if they know there's no cheating going on? Why would they fight the, photo ID to vote? Why do that if they don't plan to have massive voter fraud? Look, I say this to your audience, Alex, please. This is your vote. You got one. You've got one. You got to protect it. If you allow your vote to be changed, then we've lost. We've lost all.
No, I agree. We expose it. We show the fraud. We have millions of people reported if it happens. it's game over just from perception.
Now, I've looked at the internals, as I know you have, of several polls. Here's what they're doing. They're trying right now, Alex, to make everybody believe this election is over. For the next 11 days, it's going to be the media, mainstream media, and Hillary's job in her campaign to make people believe this election
they say
is over.
from CNN to MSNBC to the New York Times, she's already measuring the new drapes. They say she's in.
It's done. Well, let me tell you why that is. Hillary's already got every vote she's going to get, Alex, and they know it. They know there's nothing they can do to increase that. So they've got one move left, and that's to convince people that are going to vote for Trump, you might as well stay home, mow your yard, go to a movie, do something worthwhile because the race is over. Don't waste your time. Folks, do not believe it. When I looked at the internals last week of a poll, that was an it was a Wall Street Journal NBC poll. Now, Fox News reported it as the gold standard of polls. When you looked into the internals of that poll, Alex, here's what you find. 60% of the people interviewed, or 60% of the respondents, were Democrats.
Stay there. Let's go to the rest of it. Oh, that's in WikiLeaks. They're oversampling across the board like we're the biggest idiots in the world. It's like starting a football game and giving the other team 15, 14 points. I mean, a 2-year-old would know that's a fraud. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to Infowars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. Infowars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You gonna sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you gonna be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action.